What's up, everybody? Welcome back to another edition of the PHDJ podcast. If you are watching this on DJNTV, you will notice I'm sitting beside Mike Walter again.
What's up, Joe?
Back-to-back recordings, so this would be pre-recorded.
Yes.
I'm in, how you say it?
Tinton Falls.
Is that right?
I don't know why he has a tough time pronouncing the name of my town all the time.
What did I say first?
Tinton Falls. Tinton Falls, New Jersey.
I'm in Tinton Falls, New Jersey, at the HQ of the only
right there.
Elite
Big
Entertainment.
expensive sign behind us.
Badass sign, by the way. You can't even appreciate it unless you're here. But anyway, back again with Mike. Thanks for having me, by the way. Thanks for setting all this up. Still can't say why I'm in New Jersey, but that's okay. I'm in New Jersey.
We'll be allowed to reveal soon.
Yes, lots will be revealed. People are going to think we're like combining companies. Like there's going to be like a panic.
Like
it's not
boring.
that, by the way. It's not nearly as cool as that. But today, and now I'm blanking on who actually set this topic.
You
in.
actually,
do you have
it's your topic, and I know what it is, so I can remind you. But first,
I know the topic.
I want to call you to task on something. Nick Spinelli just did a video called 5 Things You Should Stop Doing on Facebook. Right?
I didn't even watch the video.
Did you watch the video?
No,
okay. No. But so Joe wrote on Instagram. So the title of the everyone knows Nick, right? He puts out these videos.
Sure. Did you watch
wedding
the video?
DJ. I did, yeah. And so the title of the video is 5 Things You Should Stop Doing on Facebook. Now, Joe replies, number 1, stop being DJ Mike Walter. So, and I know you're joking. And I know that was a joke.
It is a joke.
But I also believe behind every joke there's a bit of truth, because if there's not truth, then it's not fun. True. So what is it that I do on Facebook that you would advise other people not to do?
I think politics.
Okay.
Just posting politics, pro or against Trump.
Okay.
I still don't even know if you like the guy or hate the guy.
It's insignificant.
So.
I'll answer that question. I'm not being elusive. Unlike 99% of the people in the world, I actually have mixed feelings on the guy.
Oh, okay.
And I think that I have the unique ability, apparently, and I always thought everybody could, but I actually see every incident individually, and I look at nuances. I'm not black and white. I don't either love everything somebody does or hate everything somebody does. So,
I don't think I know enough. I'm so uninformed.
Right. Which is one of the things I know some people like yourself who are just like, stop with all that. But my argument is always, you are uninformed, and so you'd rather not see those discussions go on. My question about that is, why can't you just flip by that in your...
I do.
Yeah. So then why does it bother you?
The only things I really engage with on yours is like you and Kelly or you at the beach, like working. Like I like those posts.
Things you like.
Yeah, then I just skip by the other.
I mean, Fox Feldman, you know Fox.
Yeah, I know Fox.
Fox posts a lot, and I think he listens to this, so what's up, Fox? He posts a ton, but he's very one-sided towards Trump. I mean, every one of his posts is what Trump is doing right and what the Democrats are doing wrong.
Sure.
I don't always agree with those posts, but I go right by them. They don't bother me.
No, I'm not bothered by it either. There's 2 questions I always have for you. One, I feel like what you do is you post something and it's like as if we had lit a fire over here and we were enjoying a campfire chat, and then you just happen to walk by and just throw a handful of gas.
I've been accused of that. I don't think so, because I start the fire.
That's what I'm saying. But do you start it, throw a little bit of gas on it and walk away, or do you really go through and read the comments?
Sometimes when I see 150 comments, sometimes I don't even read them all.
Okay.
I'll skim through them.
That was one of my questions.
But if you notice my routine, and not that you have to study my social media habits, but I usually post something in the morning.
Yes.
Because I'm reading my newspaper, and if I read something that intrigues me, or
literally reading the newspaper.
Well, online.
Okay. I'm like, wow.
I have a subscription to the Daily News, New York Times, but I get them on my computer.
Got it.
I will post something, but then then often I get into the office and I'm busy. I'm editing video.
Sure.
I'm confirming gigs. I don't look again until lunchtime. And then sometimes I look at a post that I made and there's 80 comments.
Right,
I'm like,
I know.
holy shit, this one gained
blew up.
traction.
Right.
So, and then that brings me back to the Nick video. The whole point
I didn't even watch the video.
And Nick's video was really good. If anything, he took 9 minutes to say what he could have said in 2 minutes.
Right.
But his whole point was stop putting stuff out there that doesn't gain traction, that doesn't get engagement. And if you know anything about the way that Facebook works,
Algorithm, yeah.
If their algorithms are all about traction.
You come up high.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So
on my
that,
feed.
and believe me, that's not my intent of doing that.
I know.
But the fringe benefit of starting conversations, of getting shares, of getting 200 comments on a thread is that right? I'm going to come up higher on your thread, other people's threads, everything else
works.
So if anything, I'm doing the right thing as far as gaining traction on
100%.
social media.
Can I ask a question? Do you think that anybody has ever read anything pro or for or
had
against?
their mind changed?
Had their mind changed about buying something from you or us?
Oh, no doubt. Well, yeah, maybe.
So you're just admitting you've cost me money.
I have cost you money. But I would also argue I've made you a lot of money too.
100%.
Because
nobody will ever deny that. Like I told my day one PHDJ workshop, I'm like,
I'm connecting with
you.
you. Right.
I need you.
So what I've cost you compared to what I've made you is far outweighs.
No, right.
Yeah.
The scale's tipped.
And I would also say I couldn't
with
have made you that. I wouldn't have gotten this kind of following on Facebook were it not for the way I engage. And so you can't take one away without the other.
Truth. You're right.
I'm not
it's a chain reaction.
I'm not this is my ham sandwich guy. That's just not me. You know what I mean? Like I'm not, for the most part, those are not my posts.
What does that mean now?
In other words, somebody who just has nothing else to say but look at my lunch.
I got you.
You know what I mean? Like that to me, that's a boring person on
I don't
Facebook.
like that. Yeah.
And people, and like Nick's point in his video, those people will stop getting put
any sort of traction. Yeah.
Because their posts are just
it's not poignant. Yeah. Exactly. I got you.
So anyway, I wanted to defend myself.
It was
now,
no, you don't have to. It was a joke, but
it was a joke. But like I said, every joke there's a hint of truth, or else it's not funny. So,
but I was more curious about those two questions. One, do you think it ever has cost either of us money?
I'm sure it has.
But I've made a lot more off of my notoriety with you.
My favorite Facebook story.
And secondly, did you read all the comments?
Is you remember the Casey Anthony case?
Sure.
Woman who
she was pretty.
She was a very pretty woman.
Yeah, I remember
who was acquitted of killing her daughter.
Correct.
But just like the OJ trial, all the evidence pointed towards
story. Yes.
And there were rumors that she was going to write a book. And there were also rumors that she was going to do a porn. And so I put on Facebook, I want to go on record as saying if Casey Anthony writes a book, I will not read it. I can't say the same thing if she makes a porn. And now I thought that was a funny line. And if you analyze that joke, and you should never, but if you analyze that joke, the joke isn't about Casey Anthony. It's about my inability to not look at porn. Right. Okay, that's really what the joke is. But somebody sent me a direct message on Facebook and said, "You're a leader in this industry.
Yes.
You're making fun of a dead child."
Yes, we talked about this recently.
And I was like, "Dude,
did you delete it or
please?"
Not?
Oh, of course not. No, I'm proud. That joke comes up in my every year, and I'm proud of that joke. I'm still proud of it. It's a funny line, and if you're the type of person that is going to be ruffled by that, then don't follow me.
Yeah.
No.
Or just
or
the gems that Mike does drop that's not that you don't consider offensive, then like those. Like you can skip by stuff on social. That's the beauty of it.
Yeah,
there are plenty
of
things.
In a day and age where people are looking for things to be offended by.
No.
And that's what that guy was.
Absolutely.
So was that guy potentially going to go to the PHDJ workshop and then didn't? Maybe. I can't promise you that he wasn't.
Right. But we picked up somebody else
probably
that liked the
joke. who appreciated the Casey Anthony porn joke. All right. So your topic, and I think it's a great one.
It is a good one. And I'm sorry.
It came from a Facebook post.
It did. It came from a Facebook post or somebody DM me or something. It's a loyal listener, so I apologize. I'm spacing right now. I'm in New Jersey. Forgive me. But the comment was, I think there's a podcast episode in this. How do you handle a crowd that refuses to dance or that won't dance? And I think that this listener meant MC wise or mixing wise or anything. So I
think he even said, "What do you say?"
Yeah. What do you?
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
Right. I think his question was,
What do you say?
Nobody's dancing. What do you say?
You start this thing,
Yeah.
Mike, because I
So,
think this is.
There. Believe me, there's no magic words. If I had magic words to say,
Right.
this is how you pack a dance floor,
Right.
I'd be
We
doing.
just spread it through.
Exactly.
Through this town. Or not.
But what I do, my philosophy and what I try to teach my DJs is just continue, invite people up, not every song, but multiple times throughout the night. In other words, never give up on a crowd, because some crowds are after dinner crowds.
Yep.
Some crowds are last hour crowds. Some
Yep.
crowds are last half hour crowd.
Yep.
And so if you ever put the microphone away and just say, screw it, I'm
Yeah.
going back to Kenny G music because
Right.
this crowd is never going to dance, you may miss out on an opportunity. So
Absolutely.
when I say invite, just from time to time, hey folks, once again, we're here celebrating, blah blah blah's wedding or so and so's birthday party, whatever it is.
Whatever corporate event, yeah.
Right, corporate event where we're here celebrating the holidays at Elite Entertainment, blah blah blah. Dance floor is open, and then also I would say reminding people that you are taking requests.
I was about to say the
and
same
you can
thing.
even
Yep.
and you can even be funny about that at some point in the night. If you've tried multiple times and got nobody on the dance floor, I would say something like, folks, obviously my choices aren't working. Anybody want to come up and tell me what you want to dance to? Let me know.
Self-degradation works.
Yeah, exactly.
It does.
So
I was going to say the same thing, Mike, in terms of emceeing it. Before we kind of get into the music or mixing or the line dances of it, is just the MC factor were a couple of things. One, specifically saying we're going to slow it down. And again, that's more about programming. We can talk about that later. But also like saying, hey guys, I've never used that line. I like that. Like obviously my choices aren't working, but I'm like, I'm here for you guys. I'm basically a human jukebox. If you have an artist you love, or I don't care if it's danceable or not, come on up here and ask for it. I guarantee I've got it. And because we can't be stumped. We have the cloud, we can pull it out of there.
Right.
I don't care if it's a Guns N' Roses B-side or something. At that point, if nobody's dancing, I'll play it. Because again, if you give up on it, one, you miss an opportunity and maybe you don't want the gig again next year, but you miss an opportunity to potentially kickstart something.
Right.
Those first 2 or 3 couples, maybe that's all it needed for the next 6 to get out there. But I just don't. I feel like that's one of my best tricks is just to say, and that's not something I normally say in an event, especially if it's gangbusters right off the bat.
Right.
Is hey, flood me with requests. I want that's not what I usually say. But if you need to use that, it's a good one.
And then the other thing I'll add about emceeing before we get onto music is just try, my opinion is try to avoid negativity. I'm not the type of MC that's going to make an announcement like, hey, I thought you people came to party today.
Right. Badgering.
Or, what's going on? Isn't everybody in a good mood? If you start badgering, you draw the line at that point, then it becomes an us against them kind of thing.
Wow.
And I wouldn't do that. I avoid
it's
that
not my thing
at all costs. Just don't get negative.
I will say this, as a person that's done this before and have seen pictures of myself in these moments where it's not going well, and it's like I don't have a poker face. Like my face I'm mad. I'm taking it personal.
It's hard to not, but you need to try, man.
That's
you
right.
need to try to keep that smile on your face.
If not a smirk.
And this is going to segue into the music that you're playing, but it's important to do, man.
It is. I've had to teach my guys that. I've seen some pictures of them and been like, and they were like, well, it wasn't fun. I'm like,
it's hard to judge by a picture because a photo could happen to grab you at one specific moment.
Sure.
You might be smiling 99% of it, but you look down at your computer for 1 second. Video is much more telling when it comes to that. If you had a video camera pointed at you the whole night, which nobody does, but you could tell your overall mood. Not that you have to be like phony smiling the entire time, but you need to keep a smile on your face. And I think if you can be bopping around to the music, not full on dancing, but just kind of, snapping your fingers and maybe
like you're having
along.
a good time.
Exactly.
Even though you're not.
That can either that's going to spread to the group, or at the very worst is if nobody ever dances, they're not going to leave that party saying the DJ was as boring as us.
Right.
They're going to say, wow, that DJ tried.
He worked his ass off.
We just never got going.
That's right.
We just weren't in the mood for whatever reason. We weren't a fun crowd, but I wish we were, because look at that guy or gal. It looked like they had a good time.
He worked his butt off. Or her butt off.
Right.
So let's talk about programming, Mike, and talk
because
about...
I think what you say is nowhere near as important as what you play.
100%.
You know, you can say the greatest stuff in the world and then drop a hardcore club 2 a.m. song, and people are going to be like, what is this? I go for, in that case, as recognizable as possible, something that the majority of the people in the room are going to recognize, which obviously then means you have to look at your demographics.
I was about to say.
What are we talking about? Are we talking about a Sweet 16? Are we talking about a retirement party? Are we talking about your generic wedding where it's a pretty good mix? Like, what are we talking about? So again, there's not one magic song to say this is your song, but you know, look at that crowd, look at the demographics, go, what do I think is going to hit this crowd right in the middle? Not the edges of it, but right in the middle.
I agree completely. And again, you know, that's when I would I think you can refer almost to your top 200 list from whatever DJ Event Planner or Mobile Beat or whatever you use, and kind of sort it, you know, by the demographic. Well, is this skewing more towards a 30s age crowd or 40s and 50s age crowd, or even older, you know, depending on what the event is. And then kind of almost, it's like during that cocktail hour, I'm just like looking who's tapping their toes, who's coming in the room, who looks, you know, engaged, who's coming up to me, like looking at my gear or wanting to talk. Like, it's all, and especially for people like you and I that have been doing this a long time, it's almost psychoanalyze. It's psychology is
I've
really
always
what
said
it is.
half of programming is observation. You have to be watching that crowd. What are they responding to? What are they not responding to? And you have to remember that stuff or write it down. You know, if you played a hip hop song earlier and it cleared the dance floor, then you should know probably don't return to that.
That's
Even if that's in your wheelhouse, probably don't return to it. You know, and I'll say this about music as well. If you can't get them dancing, there's still a genre of music that's fun that might not be danceable. I have an entire crate in Serato called Sing Along. Now, some of them are sing along / danceable songs, like Brown Eyed Girl is a good example.
Give us an example.
Respect. Don't Stop Believin'. But some of them are simply like Obla Di Obla Da by the Beatles.
I love
Again,
that song.
certain age group. That's going to be more my parents or even my age group. But that's a song that's probably not going to pack the dance floor, but people are going to, you know, sing along to it. So if you don't have a crate set up like that, I'd say set something up where, you know, bopping around, like you called it cocktail hour music. Sometimes I
call it cool cocktails.
Yeah,
like
sometimes I think of it as almost like a second cocktail hour. You started the night with a cocktail hour, now you're ending it. But so no, in that regard, I've kind of given up on maybe getting people dancing, but that doesn't mean I've given up on them
on the
engaging
soundtrack.
with the music.
Same, me neither.
Yeah, and people can sing along and still have a great time.
I've had people leave those type of events where I felt like it was a total failure because nobody really danced, or they only danced to ballads or whatever, and they're like, "Oh man, we had the best time." And I'm like, well, I mean, they did, because imagine walking into that room with no music, or if they hadn't hired a professional DJ or a playlist, like that would have been a disaster.
And I'll give a little shameless plug here. If you follow me on SoundCloud, and if you don't, look me up, DJ Mike Walter on SoundCloud. It's probably about 9 or 10 tracks ago that I uploaded. I did a casino night couple weeks ago. And so there wasn't even a dance floor. There was no room for dancing. I was there strictly to provide background music.
For the tables.
But I called it the There Is No Such Thing as Background Music set. Because I heard that at Mobile Beat 3 years ago. The guy from Bar Rescue, John Tapper. He said that in his seminar. He said there's no such thing as background music. There's just lower volume music. And I dropped a set. I actually played this kind of music all night long, but I recorded about an hour-long set
I got to go back and listen
of classic rock, sing-along type stuff. And people were bopping around. I saw people at the blackjack table singing and stuff like that. So if you want an example of some of the music I'm talking about, go back on my SoundCloud.
Is it SoundCloud
page.
or Mixcloud?
It's I'm still on SoundCloud. I haven't been banished yet.
I got you. I think I have.
But look for the set that says there's no such thing as background music set, something like that. And it's an hour of beat mixed background, you know, classic rock type of stuff.
Speaking of that, just quick sidebar, I did hit record the other night at this wedding.
Oh, very cool.
And so here was the cool thing. I went and set up early because they wanted me to start really late. She had a full 10 or 12 piece mic swing band. And so it couldn't have been more opposite from what she wanted from me, because she sent me a Spotify list and she was like, this is our jams. And I'm telling you, there was nothing older than maybe 2015.
So it was a unique set.
And I go, are you sure? And she goes, yes, because the swing band will take care of the older guests, and then you come on and you're going to play 8 to 12. And so that swing band went off. They did a few toasts, and then I walked up. They had me a little riser, and I said, Hillary sent me a fire playlist, and if you guys let me play it, it's going to be
and you recorded
heaven tonight. And I like 3 songs in, I'm like, This is getting ready. Yeah, this is getting ready to be magic. And I listened to it back recently, and so it was inspired by you because you
haven't uploaded it yet?
I have not yet.
All right,
so I
upload
just remember.
Make sure you tag me.
I will.
We'll talk about it. And I've looked at my phone while you were telling that story. Ryan DeLapp, who's a loyal listener, he shared with me this week. He said you inspired me.
Nice.
And he recorded his last hour and uploaded. And I was listening to it the other day. On Monday. Monday is usually my payroll day, so I'm sitting at my desk processing payroll and listening to his set. Real good mixing. Some unique choices as far as programming went. I would love to ask him, like, were those your calls? Were they requests? Blah, blah, blah. But I love that kind of stuff.
Even that mix I made for the listen back on the wedding, I could tell there was some of those kind of pop punk, like Fall Out Boy songs that I wouldn't have held long if I had made a mix here, but it was working so well that I feel like I played it a long time. You know what I mean? Versus like making a mix tape, if you will. Anyway, back to programming.
So,
I want to.
Do you have another point?
I do.
I do. More, so go ahead.
I guess my always kind of standard set for really any type of event, even a non-dancing or what could be non-dancing. Again, read the demographics, kind of pull from that. Maybe 3 or 4 songs and then ballad. Or if it was really not going well, maybe only 2 songs and ballad. And then I might come back out with, okay, this is definitely going to work, cha-cha slide or something. Would you ever open with a cha-cha slide? Tell us like your first few.
I very often opened with a line dance. Okay. I think it's a real ballsy way to do it. You got to have extreme confidence in your emceeing skills. And now, when you play the cha-cha slide, you're not on the dance floor. See, I am.
You're lead. So
I'm out there.
The
and
leadability.
I've been stuck in a couple of situations where I'm like, guys, I can't do this by myself. I need at least one more person. And so I guess you don't have to worry about that because you're hitting play, and whether 0 people dance or 10,
and I wouldn't ride it.
Okay.
If it's
out of it.
60 seconds in the cha-cha slide, and I may even get on the mic and be like, "Well, that didn't work," and then I'm on to the next thing.
But going back to programming and trying to hit the center as much as possible, and I know some DJs hate line dances and think it's a cheap way out or cheesy or whatever. Man, if I am struggling with a crowd I'm allowed to play, and that's the one thing that kills me sometimes. If I'm having a tough crowd and I look down and I go, the bride said no line dance. I'm like, shit, she's killing herself here.
I agree with that.
I talked about this in my latest seminar. The poll that I took about one of the questions I asked was, how do you feel about organized dances? A third of the people who responded to that said they loved them. Almost 2/3 said meh, either way. It was only about 15% that said they hated them. So when you're struggling and you can't get anybody on the dance floor, and I told you there's a song you can play to get a third of these people up, would you play it?
Absolutely.
Of course. Yeah. So if that winds up being the electric slide or the cha-cha slide or the Cupid shuffle or the wobble, then why wouldn't you do it? So
I would rather play those than sit there and struggle. I honestly would.
I don't think it's going to restart now. Okay. I'll just hit later. Yeah, that would suck right now.
Sorry.
Install tonight. Remind me tomorrow.
There we go. Sorry.
I talk about this often enough, so I'm sure people could have predicted that answer. But audience participation to me is going to help break the ice. Yep. And again, even if it doesn't, at least you went down swinging.
Sure.
At least you went down trying every single trick in the book.
Sure.
And the client's never going to look at you and say, I'm surprised you didn't get these people dancing.
But your other crutch would be ballads, though, right?
Oh,
if there
no
were
doubt.
couples there.
Yeah. Well, especially
not
if people respond to it.
Right.
If you play some, I very rarely play. You talking about back to back?
Yeah.
I very rarely play two slow songs back to back.
It's very rare.
I'll go back to it a half hour from now, but my philosophy is if I don't get anybody up with the first slow song, what's better about the second slow song?
But what if the first one had worked and you're just kind of trying to burn time? Would you go?
Yeah, then I might.
Okay.
Or, a lot of times I'll do not necessarily a ballad, but like a mid-tempo, like It Had to Be You by Harry Connick.
Or
The Way You Look Tonight, or My
Let's
Girl.
Stay Together.
Which is something a little bit more, so it's like mid-tempo. So it's not necessarily a full-on dance song.
Sure.
But that could get me 7 or 8 minutes of, slow stuff.
Reprieve from no dancing.
Exactly. Right. It's funny. I had this Saturday night. I had a killer wedding, and our guy Tom was shooting and videotaping, and we broke for cake cutting. So now we got an hour left in the night. We take a break for cake cutting, and the bride says, "Oh, my mom's not in the room, so can we delay it?" And I'm like, of course, but I don't want to delay it. And I said to Tommy, I said, if this was a crappy gig, I'd be like, yeah, sure, we'll delay. Wait till everybody's back in the room. I can stretch this for 15 minutes. But I wanted to get these people back up on the dance floor. So I was like, let's cut this cake and be done with it. So, how often and how long you stretch stuff a lot of times depends on how good
Energy.
a party.
Sure,
You know, how good
absolutely.
a party has it been. If it hasn't been a crappy party,
Right.
then yeah, I can stretch cake cutting and bouquet for 20 minutes.
Oh, absolutely.
You know what I mean? If
Yeah.
it's a great party and I want to get back to it, I'm hustling through that stuff
yep.
in 7 minutes, getting people back
Yeah,
up.
I can play those toe tappers while everybody's getting back from the bathroom. Yeah.
Yeah.
No, I want to get people back on the floor.
And then the other last point I would
Yeah.
make, and this person didn't say anything about whether he was hamstrung by the client's requests or not.
Right.
So I'm going to assume not. But sometimes it has to do with the conversation that you had with your couple in advance. And I know we've talked about this on air.
True.
You know, if you meet with your client and they give you a bunch of songs that you are kind of, I don't know if these are going to work.
Right.
You have to have that upfront conversation with them and
in
say,
that final planning.
what's more important?
Sure.
Hearing your requests or getting people dancing. Hopefully these requests work, but if they don't, would you rather me move off of your playlist
Right.
and play songs that I think are going to get people going, or do you want me to stick to your playlist? And if they say stick to the playlist, then unfortunately you might be in for not a great party.
Yep.
Those are the nights where we earn our money.
Yeah. Oh, absolutely.
Yeah.
Not even a question. And again, those are things you have to talk about in that final planning meeting or the advance call.
Yeah, you don't want to have that conversation during dinner when the first half of their party has been shit.
Yep.
Because now it's too late. It's too late to have that. So those are conversations that you need to have up front.
I agree.
Yeah.
I agree.
Cool.
Anything else to add?
I think that's it.
It's good
So when
stuff.
this lands, we're in ARM the next week, correct? This will land.
Yeah, that's correct.
Okay.
Yeah.
So if you haven't made your plans, you still got time, I'm sure. Robbie's probably got tickets. Joe and I will both be in
Gatlinburg, Tennessee. Never been.
Gatlinburg,
Home of
Tennessee.
Dollywood.
That's right. I think this is where
You've never
ARM
been,
was. I think this is where it was 6 years ago. If not, then I've never been there.
Okay.
Yeah.
I've only been to Greenville when it used to be in
I
Greenville.
think he had it there 6 years ago, and now he's moving back.
Cool.
Could be wrong about that. But so hopefully we'll see you there, and
Maybe we'll record an episode there or two.
we can shake hands. Look at this.
Hey, look at
I like
this. We're
I
in
like
New
all the
Jersey.
face-to-face
Tinton
thing.
Falls, everybody.
Tinton Falls. That's right. Have a great week.
Later.